Hello and welcome back to the WM32 podcast. This week we are talking Champions League as the Champions League started this week. First of all, we're going to kick it off with the holders, Liverpool, and their 2-0 loss away to Napoli. Wes, what do you think of the game?
I'll be honest, I haven't had the opportunity to see any sort of Champions League sort of action this week due to being out on the grass coaching and whatnot. But so I'm going purely off results, and I think when you're looking at Liverpool's group, obviously they've got Napoli in there, and that's probably the game that they're going to falter down on the most. I would probably say out of the in the full context of it in the group. Napoli away, notoriously hard place to go, especially after the last few years, and even the way Ancelotti's had Napoli playing over since his time he's been there. From Spurs' perspective, buzzing that Llorente scored. He come out and said he wanted to get some revenge for the Champions League final defeat, and I think he got it really. But there's talk of the penalty. Shouldn't have been given. I mean, Liverpool fans are moaning about VAR. They've got some very, very short memories because there's a VAR decision that went in their favour in the final in Madrid. I'm not a bit of Spurs fan about it, but it went in their favour because subsequently since referees have come out and said that that probably wasn't a penalty. So they're moaning about VAR, but actually you've seen them given. It's definitely in the seen them given category. So I don't think Liverpool fans can really have too many complaints just because you've seen those types of penalties given. But Liverpool away last season, especially in the Champions League, their away form was atrocious.
Exactly.
I don't think they won an away game. Yet they're now champions of Europe. They're the holders.
They went there last year and lost. I personally think people are looking far too into this and what they are, because people I've seen a lot of people is this the start where they don't want to Champions League? Are they not going to get through the group, or are they going to struggle in the group? When you look at it, they went away to Napoli last year and lost. As you said, went to Red Star and lost last year, and then had not a great away record all the way through the competition and still went on to win it. Yeah,
I mean, obviously in their group last year they had PSG as well, and whatnot. But yeah, it's a strange one with Liverpool. I think people are looking a bit too into it, as you said, because they're champions of Europe now. If they'd gone out a little bit earlier, say, in the competition, I don't think many people would be really delving too deep into it. But then in Europe, you've got to start well. And yeah, I mean, to start with a defeat isn't great, but I mean, they've got 5 other games now and they've got to go and put it right. Liverpool.
And you look at how poor Spurs did. We'll move on to Spurs next because they were the finalists last year, runners up. What was it? 1 point after 3 games, or around that mark?
Listen, if you're a Spurs fan, last season, God bless your heart rate. That's what I'm going to say, because 1 point going into match day 4 after 76 minutes, and we somehow managed to get to a final. I've got no idea how Tottenham managed to do it, but yeah, it was just a crazy experience last year from a Tottenham perspective. And yeah, I think after 3 games you're looking at it going, we've killed ourselves here. We've gone to Inter and should have seen that game out. Being 1-0 up in the final few stages, and then going to PSV and just about getting a result. And I mean, losing to Barcelona. I mean, that's not
standard.
Most teams by and large would lose to Barcelona. I mean, Messi was in some form that night. I remember watching the game and just in awe and saying to my dad, what have I just witnessed here? Because I mean, I've never seen Messi play, and to see him up, it was a special one. But
class.
I mean, the result for Spurs last night, it's a strange feeling again. I think it's similar to the derby, in that you offer Spurs fans a point before the game. I think by and large would go, yeah, great. But being 2-0 up, you're expecting a bit more.
Yeah.
And I credit Harry Kane for coming out after the game last night and saying we're not a young team anymore. We're experienced in Europe. We've been in Europe a few years now, and we play in big games, club, country, everything like that. And I can see why the manager's disappointed. And like you say, being 2-0 up away from home in a European game, you've just got to see games out.
But you look at it, it is a hard place to go, Olympiacos.
I mean, it is, yeah.
Arsenal have gone there and lost. United have gone there and lost. I think Liverpool have had tricky ties there as well.
Yeah, and they've been unbeaten at home for a year.
Yeah.
So, like I say, it's one of those games that you look on paper in your group and go, right, Olympiacos should be fine. But then the stats come out during the day, on the match day, and then you delve into it a bit deeper and you go, this isn't going to be an easy game. And to come out with a point after our first game, listen, it's better than last year. It's progress from last year because this time last year we lost to Inter.
Yeah.
On their big night. So but I think both Liverpool and Spurs will get out of their groups.
Should comfortably get out of their groups. Realistically, we'll move on to one of the favourites, Premier League champions, City. Going away to Shakhtar last night, 3-0 win, pretty comfortable.
I tell you what, that is a very, very good result. I think that is probably one of the results of the Champions League week, because not many teams go to Shakhtar and just go to Shakhtar and get a result is a bonus.
Yeah.
But to go to Shakhtar, win in a convincing manner is even better. And yes, City have got problems at the back. No John Stones, no Laporte.
Yeah.
Things like that. But I mean, Fernandinho, by all accounts, has gone in and played as if he's played there all his life.
Yeah.
And I think City going forward, even into the Premier League with Fernandinho at centre half, I don't think it's one of those that people are going, oh blimey.
Yeah.
He's a top holding midfield player, but I think he can comfortably play at centre half in probably any team, let alone a team, a Guardiola team that has the ball a lot of the time. And I mean, we've seen it with Pep before. He's played Xabi Alonso at Bayern at centre half. He's played, Mascherano, Yaya Toure played at centre back as well. So it's nothing new in that respect of Pep playing a deeper midfielder at centre half, because his teams have the ball and they usually defend with the ball and that high up anyway. That positionally, I don't think Fernandinho is going to get caught out too
Exactly.
much.
Let's face it, City have had Shakhtar in their group for the last 3 years running.
Yeah.
And you've seen it hasn't been easy for them. So to go away and get the result is probably the result of the week.
Yeah.
From an English point of view.
Yeah. I mean, they are the only one to win.
Yeah.
To be fair, out of the English teams, so they've laid down a bit of a marker for sure.
Yeah.
City.
So let's move on to the last English team in the Champions League, which is Chelsea. Played against Valencia at home. I looked at the stats this morning. They had 22 shots, 6 on target. Valencia had, I think it was like 8 shots, 4 on target. Obviously, they missed a penalty, lost 1-0 at home. Frank was not happy, obviously. There was a lot of questions over Barkley taking the penalty. He's come out, backed him, said he's our penalty taker no matter what. It wasn't a bad penalty. Tried just going under the bar, hits the bar, goes over, happens. Saw Rashford do it a couple of weeks ago for United.
Yeah. How
do you think Chelsea will do this year?
Well, I think Chelsea... I mean, people are going on about this Chelsea squad at the minute, and for me, it's not the worst Chelsea squad that Frank could have gone into.
No.
The only difference, I think, is that Frank's the only Chelsea manager that I've seen and know of that has lost his best player in Eden Hazard, and has not been able to go out really and get a player of a similar quality. I think they're hoping Pulisic will get there, but Pulisic is still a very young player. And Frank's been blooding a lot of sort of younger English players, especially with Tomori, Abraham, Mason Mount and whatnot. But I still think Chelsea have enough to get out of the group. Yes, they've got some, a team like Valencia. I know Valencia beat them the other night, but you still fancy Chelsea really to get out of the group. Obviously, Ajax in that group.
Yeah.
We all saw what happened with them last season, despite the fact that...
had a very good result as well the other day, 3-0 win at home.
Yeah, I know they've had a bit of a lot of changes at Ajax with the team and stuff, like obviously losing De Ligt, Frenkie de Jong, Kasper Dolberg's gone, Mascherano's gone, but they've still got players like Hakim Ziyech and Van der Beek.
Quincy Promes had a very good game as well, getting on the score sheet. So it could be tricky, but I expect him to top the group. Obviously,
I expect Chelsea to top the group, and then it's probably a battle for that second spot between Valencia and Ajax.
Yeah,
for sure.
But obviously, we saw the injury to Mason Mount. I haven't heard about anything up from scans or anything like that. Hopefully, it's not too long term, but it did look quite bad when he went down.
Yeah, it could be ligaments on his ankle from what I've seen on images and stuff like that. So that's
it's a poor challenge.
Yeah, I mean, it's, one of your old boys, Coquelin, doing a number on him. So yeah, I'm sure someone in the red half of North London is grateful somewhere. But yeah, obviously, hope Mason comes back.
Yeah, we need him
soon
because
he's had a great start to the season, Mason Mount. Obviously, bagging a few goals and whatnot, and has taken his chance, and I think that's a key with young players. Everybody drums on about giving young players a chance, but when they get the chance, they've got to take it.
Yeah.
I think from Spurs' perspective, Dele was one that wasn't in the Spurs team initially when he signed.
Yeah.
Got his chance and then just grabbed it with both hands and taken it. And
but it's like you look at how Mason Mount's come on, like to have 2 goals already this season. With an expected goals ratio of 0.3 expected goals from his shot percentage, because his shots are absolutely atrocious. Shoots from anywhere, I absolutely hate it. But to already have a couple of goals this season, he's playing well. He's doing something that you'd expect Frank Lampard to have done 10, 15 years ago. He's that player that gets the goals, gets you going. So hopefully he comes back strong, fit, and it's not a long-term injury. Because I'd like to see him play at the Euros, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think, Frank has trusted Mason Mount pretty much from day one. I think Frank sees a lot of himself in Mason Mount. Like you say, goal scoring midfielder and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, since Frank has sort of had him, even when he was at Derby, his Mason Mount stock has just risen and kept going, and he's almost a fixture. He's been a fixture in that Chelsea side, and now he's out. You kind of go in, well, who's going to come in and fill the void, so to speak? Is it going to be Barkley? Are they going to have to slightly adapt the way they play? Is Kovacic? Are they going to play with a 1 and a 2 with Kante, Jorginho, and Kovacic? Is Barkley going to play in a slightly deeper role? Is he going to play?
Let's face it, I'd rather see Pulisic there, because when Pulisic was at Dortmund, even his best games were behind the striker as number 10.
Yeah.
And I think Chelsea are trying to find out where he's going to fit in perfectly, if it's going to be the left or on the right when Mount's playing. But I think he will play in that number 10 role, and he will thrive just because of the player he is. Moving away from the English teams, because we spoke about them quickly. Big ties in Europe this week. We had, obviously, PSG thumping Real Madrid 3-0 last night.
Yeah, I think, a real statement of intent from Paris. This Madrid team, though, have just got the experience to... I still think both teams will qualify out of that group. And do it pretty comfortably.
Yeah.
But yeah, real statement of intent from Paris, because you've got your front three all out injured. For the other guys to like Di Maria to come in and step up like he did was great.
It's good to see him back on the score sheet and playing well. He looked like it. I watched the highlights back. He looked like he had a good game. He looked like he was enjoying this football again, which we haven't really seen since his Madrid days, when he was playing with that sort of purpose to the game. Yeah,
but I still think, like, with this Madrid side, everybody's going on, it's a crisis. I mean, you're only ever one game away from a crisis at Real Madrid anyway, but I don't think there'll be too much panic in the Real Madrid camp. They've lost, it happens, but like I say, they've got enough experience in there to get them. I think Real Madrid are a team, they've won 3 back-to-back Champions Leagues, and in the group stages they weren't necessarily convincing, and they weren't blowing teams away, but then it was, right, we've done enough to get out the group,
and now we can kick on.
After Christmas we'll kick into gear.
And they've got the players to do that, like Kroos was still there, Modric still there, Bale started last night, so did Benzema. You've got Hazard, who in big games will step up. You've got Luka Jovic that can come off the bench and do what he does. Unfortunately, he couldn't do it last night. Obviously, Bale scored, but his goal was ruled out through VAR. Yeah,
I mean, Madrid's injury list as well is quite a hefty one at the minute. So, I mean, when the likes of Isco and Asensio, when they come back, Madrid options going forward they're gonna be stacked. Let me tell you that now. So yeah, Madrid will be fine. I think they'll probably go towards the latter stage of the competition, like usual really.
We had unfortunately, it was a 0-0 draw because it built up so much hype, and I was messaging you all day Tuesday about Barca Dortmund
Yeah.
and Messi's return.
Yeah. Great result, I think, probably for Dortmund. I mean, Barcelona's away record is starting to be a bit of a concern and a bit of a worry. I don't think they've picked up too many points away from home recently, and that going towards the back end of last season as well. But again, I think both teams in that group should more than likely qualify. I think they've got Inter in that group as well, which will be an interesting one.
And Slavia, so
Inter are going to be a bit of an unknown because
it could be one of those you're obviously going to expect Barca to finish top, and you can have rather Dortmund or Inter finishing like third and dropping into the Europa League. It's a really good group. I feel sad for Slavia Prague because
I'm sure they beat Inter or got a decent result.
They got a decent result, but like.
Good start from them. It's something that they obviously need because, as we anticipate, I don't think they're going to get too many points. But Inter will be an interesting one because obviously Conte's coming in. We know what he's about from his time at Chelsea, and Lukaku up top. He's got his man now. We know what Lukaku at Chelsea didn't get him. Got in Alexis Sanchez as well, who, I don't know if the jury's out on Alexis Sanchez because we know his quality from his time at Barca and even at Arsenal, but had a bit of a car crash at Man United, so I think this is his chance now to go and just play and get some minutes under his belt and get some performances in and whatnot. Yeah, as well.
Any other games we're looking at? Maybe Bayern versus Red Star. 3-0. But
I had it on Soccer Special, and by all accounts that was like attack for defence at sometimes. Obviously that's in Tottenham's group, so I was keeping a bit of an interest on that one. I think from that particular group, I think Bayern will probably top it, and then I'm hoping Spurs can sort of clinch second spot. But I mean, you're looking at it from Spurs' perspective anyway. And I was speaking to my dad about it last night, and it was right. We've got a point away at Olympiacos, better than last year. Now we're looking at we have to get 6 points against Red Star. That's a must. Got to beat Olympiacos at home. Got to beat Olympiacos at home. So that, Bayern is pretty much a write-off. Really, you're not hoping for much anyway. So you're anticipating Spurs are going to get 10 points out of that group, and 10 points usually in the Champions League is enough to get you through. But the PSG one was probably again up there with the results of the game week especially. And by all accounts as well, that was one that was very, very convincing. Zidane wasn't happy. I don't think too many of the players were, but because I think PSG had dominated Real Madrid in all sort of areas, and that's a rarity.
They were pretty strong last night, and to think they didn't have their main front three out playing as well was a bit.
And I think there's big praise from Rio Ferdinand on Adrissagana Gay. And Verratti as well, I think got some plaudits yesterday as well. I mean, Verratti as a midfield player is fantastic. I've been a big fan of his for quite a while now, and I like the way he plays. And I think by Rio's comments as well, Idrissa Gueye's gone in there, and it's as if he's been there for ages. I mean,
he fit in quite comfortably.
But then you see him at Everton, and sometimes his job was mainly to go and get the ball and win it back. But I mean, at times his positioning. His positional sense was absolutely awful.
Yeah, his positional sense was poor, but you're looking at he was making 9 tackles and interceptions a game towards the back end of last season. Same numbers as Wilfred and Ndidi. So it's a good pickup. For the French League, he's just going to do and then Champions League, you're looking for the step up. But he played quite well last night. PSG were just different level last night. Last game we'll pick up on, because these are two favourites to go quite far in the competition, was Juve Atletico at Atletico. Obviously ended 2-2. Your boy K Trips getting a big assist in the 90th minute.
Yeah, it seems this move for Kieran Trippier has worked out alright for him, and now Spurs fans are scratching their head going, where was this Kieran Trippier last season? Because if you watched anything of Kieran Trippier last season in a Spurs shirt, he had an awful season. It wasn't just games or a little run of games. It was the whole season in general. I mean, a lot of errors leading to goals, which as a coach and as a manager you can't legislate for in a team. But he's gone away, come out, said a few things about Spurs and what was going on and everything like that. And you know, I think he needed the move.
He needed the
as
move
well.
personally. He might have just wanted to do it to feel like he'll enjoy it. Like we said this a lot. Like players move to get enjoyment back into football. You look at Di Maria's move to PSG, and he now looks like he's starting to enjoy his football. It didn't look like Trippier was happy playing last year. He didn't look like he wanted to be playing a lot of the time.
No, and I think he did
now
come out.
Atletico, he looks a lot happier.
Tripp's come out and said that he was carrying a bit of an injury last season, and that didn't help. And I mean, Aurier had a few injury problems as well. I don't know why Pochettino didn't really want to play Walker Peters at right back. I know he played Foyt there towards the end of the season, but like I say, I think Trippier just needed that fresh challenge, that fresh start. He's gone to work with a coach that's notorious for defending in Simeone, and stuff like that. So yeah, it looks like it's a move that is, you know, it's suited both parties really, and you know, by all accounts, he's having a great start to the season out in Madrid and loving life really. So that's all you can really sort of say and hope for. You know, when a player does sort of move on, unless it's one that's really sort of annoyed fans or whatever. But I mean, as a fan, most of the time you go, well, it was needed, fair play. Now he's, but like I say, I think a lot of fans now are scratching their heads, going, where was this last season? Or even in his time at Spurs, because I don't think Trippier's time at Spurs was great overall. I mean, he had a good game against Real Madrid in the Champions League, but I think everybody was at it that night.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like he fitted in spits and so he had good games, and you'd look at him in other games, you'd be like, where was this player?
Yeah, I mean, he come in and he was notorious for his delivery from crosses and set pieces, and towards the end of his time at Spurs, you go in, well, he couldn't cross a road, like literally, he was horrendous. He couldn't cross a ball, and it's like, but he come in. I mean, I saw Trippier when he was at Burnley, and it was a lot of, you know, getting out your feet, whip it into the box, a bit like Beckham style.
Whip it.
But yeah, at Spurs it just didn't seem to fit, and I think he's probably just gone back to what he's good at, which is just getting it and putting it in the box. And then it's down to Simeone then to work with the strikers like Costa, Morata, even João Felix getting into the box and whatnot.
That's the thing. I've looked at their underlying stats in La Liga, and they've been performing really poorly in getting chances.
Yeah.
They've picked up goals here and there, and obviously Trips has got a couple of assists, but they haven't created high quality chances. João Felix, everyone's seen it. He's like scored one or two, couple of good dribbles, and everyone's absolutely waving because everyone loves a compilation video of just someone running past people.
Mm-hmm.
But they're struggling to create high chances. So whether that's because you've got Morata still out, Costa was a dead man last year, literally scored about 4 goals, and now has come back and is doing absolute bits. I don't know what happened to him last year. We saw Ramsey come back for all of 3 minutes last night, and his team conceded while he was on the pitch again.
Does that make you feel good because he's now playing Champions League football?
I'm happy for him because I always liked Rambo's. Shame to see him leave, but
I mean, I've tipped Juventus this year to win the Champions League. I don't know about you. Yeah, I mean, the options that they've got are just ridiculous. I mean,
it's a bit naughty. You could have a midfield of like because you imagine midfield if they drop Dybala a bit deeper, you could have a midfield of Rabiot, Ramsey, and Dybala.
Well, I mean, you've just got options. Call these guys NSG. They've got options. Even in goal, you've got Chesney, Perrin, Buffon.
Yeah.
Fullback wise, you know, it's just ridiculous. Like, I could literally be here.
They have about 30 midfield players. It's actually unreal.
They've got that many options. They've decided to leave Emre Can, who would probably get in most sides.
Yeah.
And Mandzukic. I know Mandzukic is slightly older, but he's still an option that most teams would love to have in their squad at least.
They said to Emre Can that he'd be in the Champions League squad, and then just went, not happening.
Yeah, and a few years ago, Emre Can was Liverpool's best player, especially, you know, in that season when I think it was like Rodgers' sort of last season and whatnot there, and Emre Can, like I say, would probably get in most sides, not Juve. You know, you could have.
Come to Arsenal,
Matuidi, you've got Matuidi, Pjanic, Rabiot, Ramsey. You know, you've just got so many different options. I mean, at the back, Bonucci, Chiellini, De Ligt, Rugani. I mean,
Rugani's not even getting a minute, and he is class.
Yeah,
you've looked at the drop off from Bonucci and Chiellini. Like Bonucci was averaging 78 passes a game 2 seasons ago. it's dropped to around 40 to 50 average passes with his percentage going down. So you can see the drop off. Chiellini's going to drop off as well due to age. So I'm just waiting for these younger players to be blooded into this Juventus side. But how Rugani is not getting minutes at all is baffling.
Well, he's got to get past Bonucci, he's got to get past Chiellini, he's got to get past De Ligt as well. So, and De Ligt's just coming for 67 million, and he's going to be like, right, I want to play.
Yeah.
Chiellini and Bonucci are two very experienced centre halves. They're going to play, and they're Italian centre halves, and we all know what Italians are like at defending.
Yeah. And with their age, they just keep going.
They're like fine wines; they just get better with age, literally. But even going forward for Juve, you've got like Douglas Costa, Dybala, Ronaldo, Higuain.
Talk to me about Higuain. What's wrong with him? Because he had a proper little hissy fit in training the other day. Having a little rondo, ball gets looped over him, studs right down the front of his coach's shield, and then just starts kicking lumps out of the advertising boards. And the players are there like, I'm not sure if he's joking or like actually annoyed.
Well, I mean, no one likes to get humiliated in a rondo. Like nobody.
Well, we saw Tammy get put back down to earth the other night, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, if you get megged in a rondo or whatever, it's like people just go mental. Like it, or the famous one where I think it's Mbappe or one of them that scoops it over one of the guys in the French team.
Have you seen the one where Ramos does matter?
Yeah,
with
so
Bonner.
yeah, it's one of those where you get megged and usually it just stops for a good 30 seconds and then it's like, right, we're back in. So yeah, no one likes to get humiliated in a rondo, that's for sure. And
yeah.
I'm guessing Higuain just didn't quite like it, to be honest.
Didn't take well to it at all.
Yeah, like I say, I don't think anybody does, to be honest.
No. So you're back in Juve Champions League winners?
I am back in Juve. Like I say, call these guys NSG. The options that they have got and that they can just call on is ridiculous. Who are you going for in Champions League?
No, I have a personal love for Barca just because they used to rip Arsenal apart.
I know, those were the days.
Season on season.
Those were the days.
I just used to get Messi running around people like Scalacci.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those were the days there.
Well, it was either Barca or Bayern that used to kill Arsenal in Champions League. They haven't got that problem anymore, but...
Oh, funny.
Yeah, who are you back in?
So I want to say Barca, but I'm going to go with City. Just because I think City are, yet again, their options are disgusting. Like, you've got De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva. David Silva's last season, so he's going to want to go out on something big. Aguero, Jesus, Sterling. It's just, as we say, options. I'm going to pick one wild card to stand out in the Champions League. Not a player, but a team. I think Salzburg, RB Salzburg, are going to do absolute bits. You saw they win the other night 6-2. I'm not going to try and pronounce their striker's name because I'm going to butcher it. But you look at his he's had 9 games, 17 goals, 8 assists.
Yeah, is that Haaland?
Yes.
Yes, Haaland. Mate, looking at that, that is...
It was 5.5 times. I was like, oh, this is bullying.
That is an underrated result. I mean, the 2 central midfielders for Genk alone, Sander Berger, who's been courted by nearly every top European club, and then Brian Henyon, who is a very, very good Belgian midfielder, but with Belgium at the minute, trying to get into that team is a task in itself. So
options.
Yeah, I mean, and I was looking at the score, going, what's going on here? I mean, I've scouted both those 2 Genk central midfielders, so I know what they're about, and I'm just looking at it, going, geez, what's going on here? And I mean, Haaland as well, the striker is...
They've been talking about it, obviously, Salzburg are a big feeder club to Leipzig, and Leipzig, with the chance of losing, Werner's just signed a new contract with a 30 million buyout clause starting next summer. You're looking at it, he could go in there, they're looking at him as the next sort of Werner replacement, and literally came out of nowhere on his Champions League debut and done, full Champions League debut, group stage, and done absolute bits.
Yeah, I mean...
So that's my sort of like wild card dark horse for like teams to perform and keep an eye out on. I don't think they're going to go far, but they're just going to be exciting to watch.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure who I can go for. In terms of a dark horse, I just think this year, for me, I can't. I mean, we know there usually is a wild card. I mean, last year it was Ajax and stuff like that, and Spurs, I guess, to a certain degree, given the route. But I just think the usual suspects this time around are going to be there. I just think the level of experience that each team has got from the usual, your Barcelonas, your Bayern Munich, your Real Madrid, even PSG to a certain degree now. If they can get over that last 16 hurdle, I think they could go quite far. Juve have got experience, I think they're the most experienced team in the Champions League. With the players playing the most matches and whatnot. So I don't envisage a wild card team. I just think the usual suspects will just go sort of the distance, really. So that's it from me, I guess. Like I said, I'd love to be able to go, they'll be the one, but
I don't think they're going to go far. I just think they're just going to be exciting to watch because of the way they play and seen it in. I haven't watched any Austrian League football. I know people that do, and they're the way they play are so expansive. They're almost like a German side in a different league. So well, that's it for today. Could you please leave a like, a comment, share it,